Hi Finance and Coffee, and welcome to another podcast. Today I'm here with George Dibb from Approved Motor Finance, and we're going to talk to you about how you can beat the car dealership. So welcome, George.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great to have you here. So just to paint a bit of a background picture, especially in the current market, we've been talking about diversification for a long time, as have your aggregators, have the bodies, everyone. Asset finance is obviously one way you can diversify your market. And how does that look in general? Like, what can brokers do to get into that market?
Quite a lot. So essentially, for a broker to crack that market, they've just got to use the tools that are currently available to them. So, the best starting point I would say would be your list. Your list of clients. Looking through, who your commercial clients are, who your consumer clients are. Really even drilling down into financials and looking at depreciating assets, where they're making interest, and these are the sort of things that you can get a really good gauge on where your clients are spending their money on. And the beauty is as well, it's like with anything, if you want business, ask for it.
Absolutely.
Your client comes in, you're doing a mortgage for them, the next thing to ask would be, what else is it that you need?
Sure.
Do you need a car? Are you looking for insurance products? There are so many things that a mortgage broker has at their disposal that they can use within the scope of works that they have.
Absolutely. Ask and you shall receive. And it's important to start thinking of yourselves more as mortgage brokers, and everyone start being finance brokers.
Yep, absolutely.
Or brokers in general, right? Because there's a whole range of things you can do. But you touched on, look at your consumer and look at your commercial. Is there a difference between consumer and commercial asset finance?
Absolutely, there is. So, with regards to consumer and commercial finance, you guys are currently going through the Royal Commission.
Sure.
We've had a few things that have changed with this current Royal Commission, but we've actually gone through it already.
Yeah.
Consumer finance looks a whole lot different to what it did before, and I'll touch on it a bit more later on. The beauty about consumer finance now is a much more level playing field in comparison to what it used to be with a dealership.
Sure.
Commercial finance, again, you're talking more along the lines of people who are using or buying assets for business.
Yeah.
And they're great transactions. They're generally probably the easier of the two, and that's where you still have quite good upfronts, and definitely a part of the business a mortgage broker should be looking at.
Sure. So you mentioned it's now a level playing field on the consumer side. So talk to me a little bit, how does dealer finance actually work? Like what's the process that a dealership follows versus what a broker could follow to obtain asset finance for their client?
Okay, so it's a longer process firstly. Essentially, the way it works in a dealership now is, I like to call it the IKEA process. You've got to go around till you get to the end.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way it currently looks. Now, what I mean by that is that you come in, you spend a lot of time with the salesperson. The salesperson walks you through the car. They like to call it 9 points. Once they've done all of that, test drive. After all of that, which is probably a couple of hours in, you're then negotiating. Negotiation doesn't just happen with the salesperson. It then goes to assistant sales manager.
They
sales
pretend to go to the manager, right, to get you a better price.
Yeah.
All the tricks.
Sometimes I'm going to try to stay on the fence on this. Yes, sometimes it does happen, but sometimes you do get a better price. But however, it's a long process.
Sure.
And one of the things that even the Royal Commission found when they were looking at us more closely is that a customer then starts to feel fatigue. Fatigue is a really important thing now. Buyer's fatigue. Because you're talking 3 or 4 hours with a salesperson and you're negotiating there too. Then the next phase after that, once you've completed the transaction, you've said, yes, I'm taking this car, you go to aftermarket. Aftermarket again can be another hour. So you've been in the dealership nearly half your day. A lot of the time it's a hard process, especially if you're family, you've got kids and so forth. You get to a point where you're just making decisions because you want to get out of there.
Sure.
And then obviously...
Is that deliberately designed like that, would you say?
I don't know if it's deliberately designed like that, or it's more of a thing that's how it's been for a very, very long time. It's never changed. So I think it's more that. And look, with any sales technique, you have to have a process. I think you've got to be deliberate in your process in order to get a result. And I guess the old way of doing things, that was the way. Then you've got to move to the finance guys. Now, I used to be in that chair. Now, there are good and bad in everything. There are good asset finance brokers, there are good business managers that work in the dealerships, and also bad business managers that work in dealerships. But I guess that's, for us, once you've got to that 5-hour point, you're then with a business manager, and you're there for another hour. By that point, again, you want to get out of there. So essentially, sometimes the best decision for you isn't made at that point. It's about, hey, yep, repayment, done, let me out of here, and you haven't necessarily got the best deal.
Sure.
So, why I think a broker has a real good opportunity to get more in the asset finance space is that it doesn't need to be like that. Now, one of the things that I find is a good process for a broker is that control the process from the beginning. One of the things that we found in our business is that when a reason why a lot of brokers don't like to do this is purely because one customer comes in or a broker's client comes in and says, hey, I'm looking for a car. The next step a broker will say, a mortgage broker will say, hey, just go to the dealership, find the car, then come back to me. Problem is that once you've taken them on that journey, very rarely do they ever come back.
Of course.
So that's, I think, one of the pain points for brokers as to why they don't do it. Now, one of the things that, it's a really simple thing to just change. Yeah. Really importantly, the first thing that you need to do as a broker is that when a client comes into you, stop them there and then. Hey, I'm buying a car, fantastic. Okay, so one, we need to make sure you can get approved first. Let's find the right loan for you before you go out shopping. Wouldn't you prefer to be in the buyer's seat, or the buyer's chair, where you can go and dictate the terms to the dealership?
Absolutely.
You know, you come to you, get the finance approved, know what you're paying, know exactly what budget you're working with, then it makes it an easier process when you go into a dealership. Because essentially what you're then doing is say, yep, I've got the car, go through that 2 or 3 hour process. It's also a good process to understand that it's the right car for you. You know, make sure you're getting the car that you wanted. Don't ever get caught in the trick that sometimes you're looking for one car but you move to another just because it's better for the salesperson.
Sure.
Get what you want.
Sure.
And again, the mortgage broker can take the client on that journey. Get the process, get your approval in place. Find the car that you actually want, and then go in. And then once you've done that, haggle to the price that you're actually approved for. And then once you're at that point, sign, go through the rest of it, but very quickly. Hey, this is all I have to spend, it's all done, I have my finance ready to go. I'll get my mortgage broker to give you a call, organise a tax invoice, and away we go.
Sure. So it's about really shifting that home loan mentality of, let's get a pre-approval before you go and sign to buy a house.
Exactly.
To the cars.
Exactly.
So that you're not sending the client away first, you're giving the dealership an opportunity to do their finance first, right? By doing it that way.
Cool.
But if you take that mentality of home lending, of let's see what you can afford, let's see what deals are out there first,
yep,
and switching that around, by the time that client has buyer's fatigue and gets to the business manager, I've already got my finance sorted, done.
Absolutely, right? And it's a shorter process.
Sure.
And look, what makes it even shorter is if you can find the car price going in. That's even better. You know? Right. And that's where sometimes car buying services come in play.
Sure.
You know,
so there are ways around the dealer as well.
Absolutely. So look, again, I won't go into too much about how we do things, but realistically you can shorten the process quite quickly. And look, the beauty of the internet these days, Joel, is that you can make an informed decision before you go in. You know, they say that average time that people take when they're searching for a car is 9 hours. So by the time you get to a dealership, you already really know that that's the car that you're looking for. It's just a matter of trying to simplify and quicken that process for the consumer so that, you know, focus on the things that they like to do, and that's not the finance, it's just getting in there, getting the car in a really quick time.
Sure. And I've experienced that myself. I bought a new car 3 or 4 years ago now. It's not new anymore, but in these days, yeah, exactly. I went into dealership and I walked in and I said, I want this car, this colour, this make and model. I already knew, right? I wanted it for ages.
Yep.
I still got taken through, what about this, what about the extras? Well, I already knew what I wanted. Being who I am, I'd already sorted my own finance out as well. They wouldn't have a bar of it. Oh, let's see if we can get it better, let's do this, do that. I was fed up, right? But if I hadn't already sorted my finance, absolutely I would have gone, okay, yeah, all right, well, while I'm here, I may as well, I'm still here. So it's important that you get on top of that first. You're on the forefront, you're helping those clients make those decisions before they get to someone else who might be able to.